Yeah, right. Can't go like that. There's a sign in there that says 6 months left. It is 6:32. Correct. Always. That's God's job, isn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Upper Allen Township Park and Recreation Advisory Board meeting for March 26th, 2025. If I could ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to announce that this meeting will be live streamed via Zoom for those who wish to attend virtually. A recording of the session will be made available on YouTube after the fact, and you can get to that very easily through the township website. So let's do our roll call, starting to my left,
Jason Sapoznik.
Jeff Williams,
Christina Dryden.
Jessica Martini.
Tim Wendling, Chad Krebs,
Eddie Mara.
Alexis Manana.
Eric Fairchild, Commissioner.
Rick Castranio.
thank you. Approval of the minutes. Does anyone have a change? Do we have a motion to adopt?
I move to accept the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, my announcements. First of all, we are televised tonight, and I encourage you to share with your friends that these meetings from now on out will be shared via Zoom. I did attend with my wife the Pennsylvania Recreation Park Society Conference on the 17th. And then I returned on the 18th, both of us, for the awards banquet to celebrate the second in a row year award for our park staff for the sensory garden. That was the Excellence in Recreation statewide that was presented to them to their embarrassment, which was kind of fun. Would you like to show the award, gentlemen? Ooh, I will say this, within 10 minutes of posting this on my personal Facebook, I heard from former park and rec directors and other professionals in 5 different states within 15 minutes that they liked the idea, they applauded that. And after the conference, after the award, there was a lot of interest from different departments within Pennsylvania to try something like this because you can do it in-house. So again, I congratulate you on your creativity and your initiative. And I just love being number one. And I think our Parks Department is. I attended the Board of Commissioners meeting on the 18th. And then I'm coming to something that is a little bit difficult. We've had some conflict here in the past about Commissioner Fairchild's concern with the Sunshine Law. And I would just let it go. But at the last meeting, and it is in the minutes, which were just approved and will be posted, there was a comment along those lines, as well as there was a possibility of civil fines for this board. Now, this board, there are two members on this board that were not involved with the Zoom meeting with Dirk and Exon concerning Generations Park. That's where this is coming from. And I think that it's kind of time to let that go. That is not a threat to this board. It was a comment that was made. I accept it as that. But it is also becoming personal. I don't want that to happen. I am interested in moving forward for Generations Park with public comment, which we'll talk about a little bit later, using what was said in the past by various groups, not just the Park and Rec Board. And I'll just say that it was upsetting. The idea that volunteers, many of us contribute money as well to different township events, that we might be penalized for something that was said by a paid consultant, well-respected in Dirk and Exon, who has done this many, many, many times. They would not do something that was illegal. So I'm going to close with that. I would like to put that behind us, and I would give Commissioner Fairchild a chance to answer that. I would hope he would say, although he seems to think it's a big deal, that he would put that behind us. But I will submit the microphone to you, sir.
Oh, I mean, I sat on that issue a long time because I didn't want it to affect our relationship, you know, with the Park and Rec, or to put you under pressure that way. I brought it up, you know, Jeff, when you applied for the vacancy and were stressing all your years in government service and so forth, and especially with what the government in Montgomery County, Maryland and so forth. And I thought people in government should be aware of the Sunshine Act, not the consultants. So that was the context. The civil fines and all that, I mean, that's in the law. And that was a reason why I didn't want to make that big of a deal about it, because I don't think the Park and Rec, your board is schooled in that or has the orientation. I mean, they probably should. I mean, I remember getting that when I was on the school board. You go through an orientation and they warn you about those type of laws. But yeah, I'm willing to let it go. I mean, I just that was the context of why I brought it back up.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Can we put this behind us and move forward together as a group to get this park built for everyone's satisfaction?
Well, sure. But I think we still have a difference of opinion about, you know, passive versus active features and what it's going to cost and the phasing and all that. But I think that's fair game. I mean, that's why you're here as a committee and why we act as commissioners to try to figure it out. So that's a given that we're going to do that together.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate that. Moving along. Any public comments before we go to the commissioners? And I'd love to hear about opening day from both of you all.
Good evening. Again, Doug Marsico here with Upper Island Mechanics for Baseball Association. Just a quick update. We have finished our registration. Practices have begun. We have 573 children registered ages 4 through 18 in our program this year. So the program continues to be strong, and we have a lot of kids playing baseball, which is excellent. the parks we appreciate all the efforts we get from the support from the park director and assistant park director and the whole staff. We're just at that point right now where we're hoping things start to green up soon and we could use a little rain probably. We did in an effort to hopefully bring the grass back. We did purchase $2,500 worth of mushroom soil and spread
Oh, good.
on the fields.
Good stuff.
So in case you're walking down there and you're wondering, you might see more in the outfield, you might notice it looks like mud out there and some of it kind of clumped up and needs to be spread back out. So our opening day is Saturday, April 12th. I've come to realize that this year is the 60th anniversary of Upper Island baseball. Of course, we had the merger with Mechanicsburg Little League about 8 years ago, but Upper Island Baseball Association first year was 1965. So we intend to mark that occasion, and we want to invite everybody here and the commissioners, please. I'm at the point. I'm right now. I'm trying to reach out to the past and find out if I could find anybody from 1965 that either played or coached. So I say that publicly if anyone has any connections to that. But I have located an individual who was a little bit past that time period, very active, longtime coach, and also served as president of Upper Island Baseball. I think he's like 85 years old. I think he told me he helped design the layout down there of the field. So we do have someone from I think more of the late 60s, early 70s that we're going to have throughout the first pitch. And again, this predates probably all of us, but those of you that have been in the community for a long time, if you have any ideas, I remember so-and-so was involved, please let me know, because we really like to extend an invitation to those that were here at the inception and started the program. So again, opening day is slated for Saturday, April 12th. We really hope we have good weather this year. The ceremony begins at 9:30. There will be food trucks there in the morning for breakfast and, of course, for lunch. There'll be coffee for breakfast and some food trucks are serving breakfast items. And, of course, there'll be we always have Schneider's Taters there for the French fry eaters like myself. And other vendors will be there. So we're expecting a big crowd and again, hopefully the weather will cooperate this year. And then one final thing, just in case you're curious, because I was here, I don't know if that was 2 months ago, talking about the turf.
Yeah.
And again, that's still a long way off from where that's going to happen or not. And that's, our focus right now is to work on the grass that we have and hopefully bring that up to our standards. But right now we're at a point where there's just a lot there that we have to get prices for. I believe the last I heard, we're waiting for a perk test to be done. I think the township was going to do that, and township engineer, and so there's just a lot of steps here. Nothing's going to happen quickly, and I've warned everybody about that. I said we're not putting turf in this summer. I mean, this might be a 2-year project. So just so you know where we stand on that, we appreciate your support on that. But I haven't even gone to the Board of Commissioners yet because we're just not ready to do that. So, any questions for me?
Just from the 573, do you know how many are Upper Island residents?
So our program is exclusively for Mechanicsburg School District children. And I always have to take a little bit of a guess on that because it would take hours to try to figure it out. But I usually come up with about 65 to 70% are Upper Island residents. Township's bigger than the borough.
Yeah.
And that's not a perfect number, but
No,
I think
I know.
it's greater than 2/3.
I used to have to do it for softball. So yeah, I know.
Yeah. If there's an easy way to do it, let me know. I try finding software, and even with software, it doesn't really tell you the boundary between Mechanicsburg and Upper Allen. So
Yeah.
I kind of start trying to count some dots on there and get an idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Doug,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be there. Jim?
Good evening. Jim Salter, Upper Allen Mechanicsburg Girls Softball. Just to bring to the board about our opening day, which is on Saturday, April 19th, which is Easter weekend. Basically, we get away from the boys. Basically, we let the boys have their weekend, and we did the girls, separate. That's why we have it on Easter weekend. So our opening day, we'll have the same thing, as what the boys baseball, a couple food trucks, everything that we have, as of last year, will follow in accordance with the township's, major event, thing. So we'll have, everything all set up for that. A couple things, it's too late this year, but one of the participants in our softball program, her father is a Black Hawk helicopter pilot for the Pennsylvania National Guard. And he said, hey, I'd like to drop the ceremonial first pitch ball out of the Black Hawk helicopter. But there's got to be a lot of things that we've got to put that together. So I've got to work with Chad and Eddie on this and get approval before we can fly a helicopter over top of these softball fields. It's a great idea, but logistically, I have got so many things I've got to take care of for that. But that's going to be in the works, probably next year to be able to do that. But I got to do some things and get some approvals from you guys. And I'm not sure what the laws are with flying helicopters over top of the fields. So that's something we'll have to take into consideration for next year. It's just too late in the planning this year, but it's something that was presented to us to do. With registration continues to grow. We had 247, I said from the last time. We're up to now 257 registrants in there, which is 84% Upper Allen Township girls. Like Jason said, you have to do that because West Shore Miners, the organization we go to, unlike the boys baseball, we play like Redland and Cedar Cliff and Cumberland Valley. They added a new participant this year. It's Freedom out of York Springs. They're now part of our organization. So they will come into our fields and play us. It's not like the boys where it's all Upper Allen versus Upper Allen or Upper Allen Mechanicsburg versus Upper Allen Mechanicsburg. We play other entities in a consortium called West Shore Miners. That being said, they all want to come play at our parks, top notch, echo Doug's comments on, we have the best staff with Eddie and Chad. We couldn't ask for, any more, help from what they give us nonstop all the time. In regards to the season, we've got our permits set for that. We've got our practice schedule out that's going. Our schedule for our teams will be out on April the 1st, and then you'll start to see the schedule start hitting it out for the start of the season's officially on April the 14th. That's when games officially start out there at Winding Hills Park. Concession stand will be manned and ready on a bunch more nights. This year, we've got a lot of new things going in the concession stand. We partnered now with the Chick-fil-A here at Shepherdstown Crossing. We'll be selling Chick-fil-A sandwiches out of their concession stand. We have a partnership now with JoJo's Pizza. We'll be having JoJo's Pizza selling out of the concession stand. So we got a couple of new partners that'll be there that'll help us out to bring some new stuff. We bring back Hershey's ice cream this year again. So we sell Hershey's ice cream. And of course, the ever popular slushie machine makes its return again for everybody. And it's also, that's a benefit for not only the girls softball that's there, but the park that's next to it. They come over and they enjoy, having refreshments and stuff like that. So it's a win-win for the township, win-win for that We are going to put together a schedule. I know Eddie and Chad is working on it, but with their food trucks and stuff like that. But in the summer with that park, how it gets very, very active and there. We have about 4 or 5 retired grandmas that want to do more of the concession stand opening, limited menu, hot dogs, water, soda, snacks and candy to open it up more towards like, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday type thing. Just to have it there open, even though games aren't going to be played, but utilize it that way and be a fundraiser to help us out, but also help the parks out. So we spoke last year about that. He was going to advertise it, but I had to work on that for a little bit to be able to get people to be able to wrap their head around that. So we're looking forward to this season. It's going to be a great season for us. I don't know how old we are, but I'll have to figure that out. That's a good one, Doug, but we've got some of the older ones there. And again, the invite is out for you guys. We hope you guys can come out, the Park and Rec to be introduced. I know you don't like the recognition, but it's always good that people see who you are, that sit on these boards. Board of Commissioners as well, always come out.
Don't
to
put
do
me next to a politician that steals all my line,
that.
okay? I
Yeah.
just stood up.
Yeah, so, but it is nice for you at least to be recognized and so that they know that you're an intricate part of, that softball thing. So we hope you guys can all show up, and we do have the balloon arch and all that stuff that's going to be on, they'll do that. We have Harrisburg Senators mascot coming and all that, so we're ready to go.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you, both of you gentlemen, for all you do for our kids.
Yes. The only
Year
thing.
after year after year. Thank you.
Yep.
It's really good stuff.
The one thing I will bring to the board's attention, hopefully, and this is off of the opening day kick, is next year or, in planning, we know that the fields start to get opened up, and people are rushing out there the first couple warm days. Is there a way that we could plan maybe like March the 1st to put trash cans out? If that's something that we could potentially do, because trash is piling up. We don't have any trash cans. And then is there also a way that we can add just more than one? Because on both dugouts, the people bring their stuff in, it gets overloaded real quick. So I was thinking if we could potentially purchase a couple more trash cans. The thing is our parks need to be clean, and I think the expense of adding a trash can or two to the park will be better than them throwing it and then you guys have to go pick it up. So if we could maybe speed up the deployment of them, just an idea, and just a public comment on that.
I mean, we can bring it to budget, but obviously the reason we don't do some of that is our staffing. It doesn't start till April 1st, so we don't have any seasonal staff until next week.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's something the Board of Commissioners or somebody, because again, what ends up happening is they go out, people are practicing, and not only us, but they're having people who are nice days, they go out there and then the trash cans are now locked and they have no place to put their trash. So it just gets blown. I have to end up cleaning it off of the fences, because it just gets blown around. So, and there's pizza boxes and all that type of stuff. So, if we left them out, we could put some out for you. Yeah, we would deploy them as well if we could
Well,
get
it's
them.
not as much as deploying them, it's checking them every day and emptying them.
Just a thought for the board, because I mean, we want to keep, you guys, our parks.
Jim brings up a good point. I was down there picking up water bottles the other day. The kids.
Just an idea, and, so hopefully maybe either, we can get them put out for us, that we can deploy them, or, we can get staff to do them, or township road crew do them, or somebody do them. Maybe the township manager and assistant manager deploy them, maybe. I mean, yeah, we could do that.
Tim would do
So,
it, yeah.
Tim will do it.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't open the fields until we.
Don't say
You can do that too.
I mean, just to touch on that, there is a reason why we don't really do April, because the way the weather is, the grass isn't growing. So, I mean, technically we could be causing damage to the fields.
I've never heard a youth sports group that didn't want to get to practice earlier. Never. So I understand that, but on the other hand, staff, as you suggested, is the turf ready? But you brought it to the right place, Jim. So thank you for that. Any other public comments? Okay. Commissioners. Huh?
Why
I'm
this
old.
time?
I can't, it's hard to sit.
I think the only thing I have to add is, I think at our last board meeting, we approved putting out the bid Grantham Park. I think that is moving forward.
Yep.
Just
And there was a lot of strong support. There were, I think, 5, if I recall, citizens of Grantham that came up and supported that. It'll be so great to see that park back to what it should have been, or what it was and what it can be. Anything else? All right. Tim,
Yeah, I want to make sure every month I highlight some of the 175th anniversary events that are going on. This past month, we had our first event. It was speaker, Dr. Jeremiah, and we had a great turnout here. She spoke about Indigenous people and the Carlisle Indian School. So we were really excited about her speaking engagement and how many people showed up that day. And then our next speaker is coming up on April the 14th, and that's going to be Bill Murray. He's going to be talking about the creation and early years of Upper Allen Township. So I'm sure that'll get a huge crowd as well. And then just a reminder, we are still taking sponsors and fundraising efforts, and all of that information can be found on the website. We are on our way to meeting our goal, and we're going to use all of that money for these events that are coming up throughout the year.
if somebody has a contact with a local business, somebody that might want to contribute even at any level, I've got a couple of these up there. Thank you, Alexis, for being so responsive. So if you'd like to take one or two and visit somebody you know, that'd be appreciated. Chad?
Yep, most of my updates are later in the agenda, but we talked about this last meeting, so I wanted to give another update on the website that we're doing through RecTrack, our new software. We should be able to go live either next week or the week after. Again, this just software for all of our pavilion rentals and dog park passes. So all of our pavilions are now in here. They have a photo of what they look like, so there's no confusion. You can actually go in, pick dates. If they're reserved, there will be already checked off that you can't reserve them. This will all go back to the staff, and then they'll get invoices in the mail or through email, and then they can pay online as well. So we have the pavilion rentals and then the dog park passes we just worked on. So you'll be able to register for the dog pass, either renew or sign up. It's all the same questions that was on the old form. It's just on a new format, and it's just easier on our end for filing and making sure we have all the right stuff.
Good stuff.
And the last thing with this is there's an event calendar that we have all of our events in. So we'll have links on our regular website to this, but it has all the information on the upcoming events, and then actually has a link to take you to the Facebook events that are on there as well. So
Too bad.
yeah, so
Vermont Systems, who produces this software, has been around for decades. I'm really excited for y'all that you have something to ease your way and let Eddie sleep better at night. So, Ed, you have something to share?
Yeah, the only thing I have is our permitting and our invoicing is now up and running on BSNA, which is making it a lot better for our processing. It's all online now, so the sports organizations or the vendors all get emails now. All get their invoicing through emails. They can pay it online, and they can send their permitting right through the system as well. I think it's just a lot. It's streamlined a lot better now, so it's definitely making the process much smoother. That's all I have.
Now, with this system, There used to be a function where it had to be approved by staff. That's still in place? Or can they just do it?
So right now, it's only set up that we're using the system. We did talk about with the sports groups about possibly letting them use the system, which I think will help them with their registrations and stuff as well, but we're not at that point yet. So they're still filling out applications, sending us the dates, and then we're entering them into the software.
Okay. Thank you. Tiffany, you're up. What's happening?
Good evening. Today at the school was Wildcat Wednesday for the staff, so I'm supporting my Mechanicsburg Wildcats. Tim told me there are some pictures on the school's Facebook if you want to see what everyone was up to. So I'm here to report the February program numbers. So the top adult programs, we talked before about the mosaic classes. We had 9 people make mosaic hearts. And how to finance a home, we had 7. So I like seeing when we have adult programs and various ones. The youth programs, so we talk a lot about our MAPS program, which is the Mechanicsburg After School Program. So we had 156 total students. Today was their last day of the program. And acting, improv, Dungeons and Dragons both had 29 students and bowling had 22. I feel like I regularly reference Dungeons and Dragons. I thought that it was dead a long time ago, but these kids love it. Super fun. So our field hockey clinic, we had 29 registered. We have a green team. They meet every Monday. They're 4th and 5th graders from Elmwood that are bused to the environmental center. We have 23 enrolled. Junior martial arts, we have 9, and safe sitter, we had 8, which is the max we can take for that program. So lots of youth programs happening. The highlights, so hopefully everyone received their summer program guide in the mail. They were out the week of March 17th. I'm still collecting mail at my parents' house, so I was excited to see it on the, email where you could check to see what's coming in the mail. So hopefully everybody got it. If you didn't, stop by our office. We have extra copies. There's some in the lobby out here as well. We've distributed them to the communities. So they're at the library. They're at all the municipal buildings that we serve, at the schools. So come on by. For the summer planning, speaking of the program, so we have the applications currently up for the pool and the playground program and summer adventure camp. So summer adventure camp and the playground, we currently have about 50 staff, a little bit more, that have already applied, which is really exciting. And of that, I would estimate about 50 are currently returners, which is also great to see, 50% of the 50. We have group interviews coming up for March 29th and April 12th. So if you know anybody interested in working in the playground program or summer adventure camp, have them submit an application. The lifeguards, their interviews are coming up mid-April to the end of April. So if you know somebody, lifeguards, we have front desk at the pool as well and assistant pool managers. So that's kind of what is coming up and what had just happened. Do we have any questions? All right, thank y'all.
I would say that we got our Mechanicsburg Rec Guide in the mail. And I still enjoy the fact that you have offerings for all ages. They're fairly diverse. People should understand that in recreation programming, a big part of it is business. You can't run stuff that isn't going to go or hasn't gone traditionally. And you try to offer 10 to 15% of new programs. And I commend you for doing a great job. Please pass that along to your staff. That's just from me. Yeah, okay. All right, let's look at park assignments. Nick can't be with us tonight. Country Estates look fine. McCormick, boy, I drove through there 3 times this week, and it is always refreshing. As I always say, I have not seen any trash all winter long, but we are in the winter, we're in downtime. People tend to park and sit and by the water, so there isn't the trash problem. I want to mention that there's been comments about trying to put trash cans out there. The problems in the past, and I'll yield to Chad if he wants to correct me, but the trash cans get to overflowing. The philosophy at McCormick has been the same as state parks. Take out what you bring in. And I think Ms. Brown, Tanya Brown, former director of Mechanicsburg Rec, made this point that that's what we ask citizens to do. And it's not too much to ask to take your trash out with you. We still might have a bit of a problem, and I know our folks take care of that, but the opinion of this board and staff has been not to put trash cans there for that reason. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, we tried it before. I mean, you go down to Simpson, we have 9 cans along the creek and they're all full and they're checked every day. So the biggest problem we have, especially with McCormick, and we've had in our other parks, is any trash cans near any type of roadway or parking lots, people just come up and empty their cars out. And it doesn't matter if we check them twice a day, they're always full. So we moved all them away from the parking lots too.
But that is why, and I mention it because we're televised. Maybe some other folks will hear that.
At the last board meeting, there were some residents in that area that said that they actually go there daily, walking it and picking up trash. So, I mean, you may get there after the trash has been picked up, or but I still think there might be an issue with people leaving trash there. But I mean, I understand our position.
There will always be people leaving trash because the public kind of does what they want to do sometimes. And that's too bad, because McCormick, in my opinion, is our most beautiful park in a natural setting. So I don't know if, Judy, you want to come up? Absolutely. I was kind of looking at you before, waiting to see what you're going to say.
Judy Bailey, resident. I'm one of the people that picks up trash, as many of my neighbors are. We walk regularly there. And I realize everybody's trying to figure out what the best thing to do here is, how to solve the problem. We've identified a problem and trying to figure out what the best way to handle it is. Could there be signs at least that people know that there's no trash pickup available, that in the state parks, there's signs,
Take out what you bring in.
take it out. Could there be at least signs that say that you're expected to take the trash out? Or a fine that's available? Is there some legal recourse to people that do leave it there?
We're open to try it. We can get a couple and put up, see if it makes a difference.
Good idea. Give it a shot. Because trash cans didn't fix it. And I remember you from that meeting. Thank you for bringing that up. Anything else?
Batteries, cinder blocks.
Dog park, hold on. I have notes from my wife. Hold on. We did have our annual dog park meeting on the 12th here. We had some folks attend. The next meeting is April 8th, which is not a usual Wednesday, here at 6:30. There were some suggestions made by the residents that attended, and those I shared with Chad, because I am the liaison to the dog park committee. And I'll be honest with you, there are 280 registrants who mercifully are not there all on the same day. I've mentioned before, there are groups that go different times of the day and they all know each other. It's really kind of fun to go down there and talk to people if you want. And it's a very popular park. It's well maintained. And it has a reputation. I looked this morning, there were 27 new views on the dog park Facebook page just today. I mean, people are looking at it. And if they go through and register their dog and have the vet sign off on it, then we have a little bit more money in the kitty. It's only $20 for a resident to help pay for the poop bags, which is fairly expensive. You'd be surprised. And that's it on the dog park. Lauren can't be here. Christina?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So Center
Sure, I like that.
Square, I know that you said your park is the most beautiful. I would say Simpson is the most beautiful. I too have waterfront.
Park.
Center Square looked fine, no issues, and Simpson looks amazing.
Terrific. And Jessica.
But it's not really Center Square, is it?
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I forgot that.
That's
That did
the
go
part.
through the Board of Commissioners and it did
Oh.
change, but I forgot to change it on the agenda.
I forgot to say that.
No worries. So Trout Run looks amazing.
Aspen and Spring Run are good. Mount Ellen, I just have a new task of getting the trash, which I don't mind. People just leave it behind in the pavilion sometimes. It's not that big of a deal. It's just a little bit when I go to.
Jason.
Miller's Crest was fine. I walked all my parks today. And at Fisher, down by the pavilion, there's a like a water retention, little cold, whatever. Some kids have decided to turn it into a little BMX track. So there's ramps and jumps and they're digging away at the berm, which will lead to erosion. But it got me to thinking, maybe when we walked Kosher, maybe that would be a good spot to put something like that if we end up doing something at a bigger scale at Kosher. I know there was some talk about doing it down at Generations, but that's way out of the way for the kids on bikes, in town. And then also on the pathway by the cornfields, it looks like there's some erosion taking place and there's like a little stream that's running out into the cornfield. You'll see it if you walk back there. It's pretty plain to see. But other than that, the park looked really good and we all walked Kosher and it was, Kosher is Kosher. So
Yeah.
nothing new to report there.
I know when I live across the street from Fisher. And when the lights went on and there were starting to be practices, I knew baseball was here. Go O's. Sorry. Hey, it's my mic. Dan can't be here, but Winding Hills, I drive through there every single time I take the loop through McCormick, which was 3 times this week, I think. And if you want to go to one park and see what a park is about, with different people, different ages, doing different things, that's a nice place to visit briefly. They're all best parks. They're all best parks. You can have a favorite though. All right, let's get to old business. Does anyone have any, before we get to Chad, does anybody have any suggestions for pieces that might be put into Generations, particularly if they're in-house, it wouldn't cost a lot of money? I don't have anything this time for a change. No? Okay. If you think anything, bring them up next month. Chad, thank you.
Yep. So, first of all, the grand opening for Generations will be Saturday, May 3rd, 9 to 12. We're hoping to have a couple food trucks there and, the Park and Rec Board joining us and hoping to set up a couple of little stations just to show off the property and what the future might hold. Leading up to that, we want to try to do, I don't know if I'd call them public input sessions, but some meetings to talk about the future Generations, what has gone on so far, what some of the things in the works are. So we're going to start advertising on Facebook. Our April meeting, we're going to show a updated plan from the CS Davidson plan. I mean, CS Davidson plan was never really completed. So we're going to get that kind of colorized of what was proposed. Probably talk about that a little bit. And then that weekend will be the grand opening down at the park. So we really want to encourage people to get down to the park, see the property before we get too much into it. And then we'll advertise that pretty hard in May. And then the May meeting, we're going to advertise to actually have open comment, try to get the public in here and talk about next steps for the park.
Excellent. Comments? Okay, thank you. Project update.
So I like doing these every year. we're gonna go through some of the things that we've did and wrapped up last year, and then along with some of the things that went through budget for 2025 and things we already started working on and things that we're gonna continue with. So obviously, we finished up the Sensory Garden last year. There's about 600 plants now in there. We just planted some things for spring that hopefully start popping out soon. We had a good turnout for the grand opening when we opened it last June. The restrooms at Fisher, Friendship, and Simpson, we did some overhauls. These are some pictures before we went in. The building was from kind of the late 90s and kind of shows. So we cleaned everything out in the concession area and with the help of baseball and painted everything, got the floors epoxy coated, redid some of the bathrooms and the like stall doors and locks. I don't have any pictures of Simpson in here, but we added a fan to Simpson hoping to take care of some of the smell that occurs over the summer. The Trout Run Trail, we started that last year. There was a kind of a wet area that we bridged over to get back to the rest of our property. It's about a 1/4 mile walk if you walk down and loop around. We brought to the board before about possibly doing a boardwalk system. We are going to look into trying to do something a little less complex as that to try to get the Willows of Ashcombe and Ashcombe Development connected to Trout Run. The Trails of Generations. So this project started in late October last year. There was a addition of 4,600 feet of trails and a small parking area and stormwater improvements to cover that and maybe some of the future things. With the trails, we did apply for it? Or didn't the LSA grant? We did apply for the LSA grant for $1 million to do the other outer loop. So this kind of, if you're looking at the Lisburn side, this is the right side of the park. So the left side of the park was in for that grant. And we'll hear from that in, I think, November. We put some split rail up around and the gate will be on a timer. So you won't be able to access the park after dusk to dawn. So we'll try to figure out the best we can because it's not really a dusk to dawn timer, but we'll try to get that scheduled the best we can, that not allowing access down there after hours. You can get out if you are in there, and then we split railed kind of the exterior of the front and back entrance to mimic some of our other parks that we do. The rain deck, this is the second year we had that in operation. We did put a safety surfacing on that. It was non-slip surface. I know we had a couple issues with it at the beginning, but then we reapplied it and everything seems to be fine since then. The events we had last year, we had our reading day, Tree Tuesdays, movie night, Fall Fest, tree lighting. So here's just a couple pictures. The movie night probably had 400 or 500 people at it. Our reading day had 100, 200 people. Fall Fest had, even despite the rain, still had about 1,500 people, we're thinking. The tree lighting had probably again 300-400 people. That was a nice little event. And we're planning on doing that again next year. Me and Eddie attended the PRPS and NRPA conferences last year. I think this is really important for us just to network with other people, see how other parks are done, see a lot of vendors that we don't use that we could potentially use. So for 2025, the Grantham Playground replacement, so that's already begun. The old equipment's removed, the area is excavated, the crew is coming in Monday to install the new equipment. So probably 2 weeks or so, that'll be done and opened. As Rick mentioned, the pond restoration project was approved at the last meeting. There's a couple things to finalize. There's that bid will probably go out in about a month and hoping construction starts in June. The first contract would be to dredge the pond, build a ADA fishing pier, and do the stormwater improvements for the park. And then the following year in 2026, install the trails in the parking lot. And we also got a $250,000 DCNR grant for this project as well. Whining Hill Fitness Equipment, there's an area down at Whining Hill Park that around the playground area is just kind of a mulch triangle that was at one time supposed to be like a seating area. It just never really turned into anything. So we proposed this last year and the board supported it. So we're going to be putting this in-house probably in the summer. We got some other things to get done in the spring with generations and everything. Trout Run, we're replacing the swing set. So that area still has the old mulch in it and lays wet, and the swings are pretty old. So we're going to replace it, use one of our parent-child swings that we have in all of our other parks, a couple belt swings, and add in the tire swing. And then that area will be converted to rubber mulch. The Whining Hill train doing area, we do have this budgeted, but we're also going to apply for a grant to see if we can get the money for this as well. So we don't have to expend our funds. Basically, it'll be right on the rail line. There'll be a seating area. There should be a radio in there that's linked to the train traffic from Harrisburg. So you can sit there and listen to that. That'll be on a timer too. So it's not bothering the neighbors. So far, since we've been showing it and talking about it, seems like a lot of people are supporting it.
Hey, Chad.
Yeah.
Would you guys ever consider approaching the railway for a grant or
That's
sponsorship?
what the grant would be.
Yeah,
It's through Norfolk Southern.
perfect.
Yeah, and we're gonna try to get some axles from the train cars and turn them into benches. So no promises though, because they're not the easiest to get a hold of. Other things down at Whining Hill, so we have some trail connections, some of them safety wise, other ones just logistic wise. And then the back area that is all mounds of dirt right now will get leveled out with the Grantham contract. That'll add about 4 or 5 acres of usable space to Whining Hill Park. Right now it's just proposed as open space, and we would loop a trail around the outside of that.
Hey, Chad, I had a thought about that spot. What about a cricket pitch?
So we actually did have people reach out about that.
Because there's nowhere on the West Shore.
Yeah, we really don't have anywhere to do it because of the size they need. I
Is
mean, they
that-
basically need 2 soccer field size area.
Is that close?
What's that?
Is that sufficient space?
Yeah, it would be room for it.
Because you could, I mean, they could overlay,
Yeah.
cricket,
And I mean, I think
soccer that day.
when we talked to them, there's supposed to be like a Diamond Tech circle in the middle, but they said they wouldn't need it as long as
No.
they could.
I think they
use
just
the
want
grass
somewhere to
area.
play. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll take off like pickleball, right? Then we'll put cricket everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna probably let this area sit for at least a year or two, depending on how the weather conditions let grass come in. We proposed kayak launches at the last meeting. We are gonna look back. We proposed them at McCormick and Simpson. We are looking into other options with either Lower Allen or possibly even the Bands-Off property if we can get some buy-in there. Basically just to create an accessible route for the yellow breaches. We have a grant for this as well, $100,000 unmatched. There's a potential skate park going in at Kosher. We're in talks right now. There's a gentleman that wants to donate the money to build it. We're going back and forth through the legal part of that right now, but hopefully things come from that and that will get put in this year. Yeah.
Back to Whiting Hill, last section there.
Yeah.
Is there talk with Lower Allen at all about extending the trail?
Yeah, so we are talking about right now, we got to talk to Orchard Glen HOA because it's not under McNaughton Properties anymore. Lower Allen's on board, Charter Homes on board, but there would be a very easy connection between Orchard Glen and Chartered Homes. It's only about 500 or 600 feet. So, but yes, we've had people reach out about that. So we are looking into that.
Yeah, I'm on that board. We're talking about it. It's
Okay.
just, it's a legal maintenance
Yeah.
thing. Plus it crosses over the pipeline, which means we have to get
Oh,
all
okay.
that.
Yeah. So we're looking into it.
projected instead of letting it sit to your grass and digging back up the Diamondbacks. Those are putting fields in there? Is it like, just like blanket over top of that? What's the deal?
I don't think any decision's been made. I think that's one of the possibilities at the last meeting we raised.
Let it sit and dig it back up the Diamondbacks. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
So we did look into it. There's no cost savings because the contractor's gonna level that whole field out. They're not gonna like put Diamondtex in and try to grade around it. So basically, we're still gonna have to dig the area out anyway. So the idea is just to try to get the grass growing and then discuss it in the next year or two. Talked about that. Water fountains. So we put one of these in at Fisher. We have the other ones to put in. There's one more at Fisher to put in, two at Friendship, one at Mountain Allen, one at Rose Garden, and then we have another one to put, we want to put down by the playground at Whiting Hill. They have a dog fountain, bottle filler, ADA level fountain, and then a regular height fountain. And people love these things and the dogs love them. They go running right up to the bowl and sit there and wait for the owner to come push the button.
Our dog loves the Fisher. Ripken loves going to that water fountain.
We're gonna replace the flag poles at Fisher and Friendship. The one at Friendship, we haven't been able to put a flag up for about 2 years, and the one at Fisher, we have issues every year now trying to get that up and down. It gets water in it and freezes, and so we're gonna throw 2 of them in. We had a maintenance building added to the budget for storage for our equipment. It's basically done. We have another couple things to do to it yet, but that'll pretty much finish our site out down at Whiting Hill as far as all of our equipment being inside and being able to operate efficiently. These are just yearly additions that are smaller items, but not to be left out. So we have reoccurring money to add more benches to the parks, picnic tables, trees. We normally plant 30 to 40 trees every year. We're gonna acrylic coat Miller's Crest and Spring Run basketball courts. Friendship parking lot is next on the list for seal coating. We're looking into upgrades at Fisher for water and sewer. The sewer is right now goes into tanks and then is pumped up to the sewer line on Fisher Road, but there's actually a sewer line at the lower end of Fisher. So we can connect it and gravity feed it and eliminate that. And then as far as water, there was like an inch line put in down to the fields and where the rain deck is, probably Doug might even know, back in the 90s or 80s, but it keeps failing and it's only an inch line and I can't really keep up with like the irrigation and down there. So we're going to look at trying to add another water line in the lower end. The one pavilion at Simpson, putting the metal roof on to extend the life of that. And the gutters at Generations Barn, we're going to replace because they're kind of falling apart so we can prolong the life of that as well. And this is my last slide, but these are our events that we have planned for the year. So we have the speaker series that already started. The next couple of those is April 14th, May 12th, September 8th, and October 15th. They're here at the Township Building. The refreshments start at 6:30. The speaker starts at 7. We have Generations opening on May 3rd that we talked about from 9 to 12. We have our Food Truck Fridays again. We are doing all these at Whiting Hill this year. We didn't really get the turnout at Friendship as what we do at Whiting Hill. They're every 4th Friday, 5 to 7. We do have 2 groups coming in to also perform music as well with that this year, see how that goes. We're gonna bring Treat Tuesdays back. That's every Tuesday, basically when school's not in session. We normally have a big hit with that where they normally get 40 or 50 people at each park. We do that at Whiting Hill and Friendship. We have Kona locked on. We're still looking for another one to rotate with them. Part of the 175th, we have the Community Art Project going on at Whiting Hill. That's on June 29th from 10 to 1. We have our Fall Fest again this year on September 26th from 4 to 9. So a lot of the same stuff we had last year, plus some new stuff this year with the LinkedIn with the 175th. And we're going to do the tree lighting again on November 30th from 5 to 6:30. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any other new business, folks? Anybody want to share anything? I would like to show you the gold bone that sponsors get placed at the dog park when they give us $250 or more. This one is from Jim and Karen Cochran, who have donated every year. We also have one for Mermaid Car Wash that came in this year. I don't know how they heard about it, but I'm sure they have a puppy down there. Anything else, folks? Thank you. We're adjourned.